All right, welcome everybody. Here we go again. Some Bantam hockey. This time back home for the Grand Forks Top Gun Challenge, the home tournament for the Aviators. Getting underway. Started earlier today. I believe the first game was at noon. So a few games have been played here. Haven't really followed too many, see what's going on, but did just watch the other Bantam team win their first game 4-3 over Dickinson. So they are in the win column to start the tournament here. Aviators red team over here will be taking on Williston. Haven't played them yet this year. They are one of the top teams in the west side of North Dakota, but looking at the standings, a little hard to tell how things are going out there. Williston's only played 5 or 6 games, or have only reported 5 or 6 games. So they're sitting undefeated in the standings, but are sitting in third place because some other teams have played more, but had some losses as they played 12 or 13 games. So either way, did a little bit of research, and Williston, I believe, took on Watford City earlier this year, who is the team that we played at the end of the War Road tournament last weekend, where the Aviators were victorious, I believe, 5-3. Williston beating Watford City one time 5-3, and another time I believe it was 4-1. So should, if you go by scores anyways, this should lead to a pretty good matchup between these two teams. You see the Aviators getting warmed up here. Not sure who we got starting in net quite yet. We'll have to see who takes the net when the starting lineups head out there. But either way, we got about 3 minutes here before we get this game underway. Both teams warming up. Watford City looks like they may have the height advantage just a little bit. Got some pretty tall boys out there, but that doesn't necessarily translate always. Usually helps in the hitting department. But you get some of these smaller guys with the speed and the skill. Unless you can find the unicorn where he's super tall and super fast and skilled. But Aviators' keys to the game. I will tell you all, and I'm sure you know, stay out of the box. Unselfish play. Don't take the silly penalties after the whistles or the frustration penalties. Stay out of the box. Do not give the other team an advantage when you don't need to. That extra man not only gives you an advantage out there at the time, but it also just wears down the 4 players that have to defend. It can cost you later in the game. So they need to find a way to stay out of the box, play as a team, move that puck, take advantage when Williston takes those penalties, move that puck around, get solid shots, get people to the net. But we'll see how it works out here as about 1.5 minutes to go in the warm-ups. Obviously, all the kids getting out of school and coming right to the rink. That can affect you sometimes when you're sitting stagnant for a large part of the day. But they got here enough, most of them. They should have been able to get their legs moving around, warmed up, and all that fun stuff before they came out on the ice. So we'll see what happens. Just under 1 minute in the warm-up here. We'll get the pucks picked up and get the starters out to the face-off dot. As you can see here, the game we watched on the other side, I don't believe had 2 linesmen, but we will have 2 linesmen, 2 referees, similar to an NHL game. I believe this is the first time that we will have that. Usually it's just 1 ref and 2 linesmen, but either way, nice thing about having 2 refs is you catch some more penalties behind the play than you would with 1 set of eyes on it. But about 10 seconds here, I'll hear the buzzer and get the pucks picked up. Teams will head to their benches, probably gather around their goaltenders. Looks like Blake is handing off his stick to the coach. So it looks like Dom will be taking the net here for the Aviators in this game one of the Grand Forks Top Gun Challenge. I believe still sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings, but renamed this year as the Top Gun Challenge, a little ode to the Aviators nickname around here and to the Air Force Base. See all the fans still filing in. Pucks are getting picked up at center ice. Aviators wearing their home white jerseys. Williston wearing their black jerseys here. You can see the team gathering around their goaltender down there in the corner. A few more taking a little extra lap before they join. Still waiting for a few guys at center ice to pick up the pucks, but they will join here soon enough. They'll go through their pregame ritual, and then we'll get this one underway. Special thanks goes out to the Newberts as they run the scoreboard and penalty box here for this afternoon's game. Still chatting down there in the corner. Here they come, headed to the box. We'll get the starting five out there. Williston ready to go. Jordy Schauer, looked like Luke Nicholson. Owen Berg, Jackson Norby, and Nick Henderson on defense will be the starters for the Aviators. One back here by Williston into their own zone. Behind the net, they set up. Try to send it up the wall. That went off the back of the net a little bit, but Williston does get on the neutral zone. Daxton stops that one, try to feed it through the middle. It gets it over to Berg. Berg still has it here. Gets it up to Nicholson. Nicholson dumps it in right on net. Goaltender takes a look, decides to cover it up. And we'll get a quick whistle here and a face-off down in the Williston end. So normally 17-minute periods, but for tournament's sake here, we're only going to be playing 15. Penalties should stay the same at 2 minutes, though. Face-off, one back. Daxton steps up, takes the shot through traffic. Goaltender makes the save, picked up by Schauer. Schauer tried to feed it out to Berg. Went off a Williston push skate, and Williston turns it right back. Far side, decide to dump it in. They'll go for a change. Aviators go down their own zone to pick this one up. Daxton loops into the corner, has some space. He'll skate this one forward. Lost the handle on that one. Williston bumps it back to the blue line, but Berg able to turn it back out in the neutral zone. Williston with it again. Now they bring it in the zone. Shot sit on. Dom makes the save. Another attempt goes wide. Henderson will chip this one up the boards. Not out. Now it finally comes down. Looks like this one will go for icing. Blasky's going to chase it down, but not get there in time. And we get an icing call. Face-off up coming back down in the Aviators' end. Just about a minute played here. 2 shots for the Aviators, 1 for Williston. A face-off here in the Aviators' end. Mason Fiala taking a face-off, gets it over to Blasky. Blasky chips up to the line, gets it back. Still trying to get control on it, try to dump it down in the Williston end, but they are able to turn it back out in the neutral zone. Brought in there, but just a little bit offside as Blasky couldn't quite clear the zone before the puck went back in. And we got an offsides call. So Blasky, Fiala, and Mason Fargo out there as the forwards. It'll be Kulak and Benson on defense. One back by Williston. They'll send this one off the far boards. Benson steps up, picks it up, skates it forward, dumps it into the zone, slips it, check, chases after it down in the corner. Bumps into the defenseman down there, loses an edge though. Williston will turn this one out off of a stick. It looks like it'll go down the ice. Kulak is going to try to chase this down before icing, but it goes all the way, and we get another icing call. So we'll head back down to the Williston end here for a face-off. Still just a minute and a half into this first period. 13:28 to go. First period 0-0. Williston gets control off the face-off. They chip it up the wall. That one will come out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Kulak. Kulak pushes it back down into the Williston end. Seffield chase after. She's out there now with White by. She goes down hard into the corner. Puck comes up to the blue line. Benson picks it up, sends it off the wall. Gets it down to Shower. Shower turns, fires, goes off of Williston's skate behind the net. Williston will dump this one down again. It looks like Kulak will get to this one this time. He goes behind his own net. Feeds it up to Benson. Benson backhanded out to Safi. Safi through the neutral zone, down into the Williston end, cuts it towards the net, gets a shot off, goes off a skate, goes wide. Williston trying to get this one out, comes out to the point. Greener couldn't quite keep that one in, and Charlie Miedema will push this one down to the Williston end. They'll say no ice on this one. Williston will work it out from behind their net. Now through the neutral zone, misplayed here. But they'll get it back and bring it into the zone. Fed to the middle, and the slot shots it on. Blocked there by Easton Green. Williston with control in the corner. Trying to feed this one out front. They still have control. Playing pitch and catch in the corner here, but misplayed there. And Miedema will pick this one up. Backhands one up to Berg. Off of his stick, Williston gets it back, sets up, tries to take a shot. Stopped by Greener. Williston with control in the corner. Knocked off with a stick by Berg. Berg will chase it down. Sends it behind his own net, rings it around, gets it over to Shower. Shower slips one check. Makes another nice little move. Lost the handle, though, but is able to get it out in the neutral zone. Williston gets it, goes D to D. And they'll just dump this one back down in. It'll come on to Miedema's stick. Miedema trying to feed it up to Shower, but Williston player lost his edge. Blocked that one, and Williston's able to keep it in. They'll get on it first here in the corner. Berg trying to steal it back. Williston dumps it down low, below the goal line. Easton Green comes over. Bouncing puck tied up in the corner. Comes this up to Berg up the sidewall. He feeds it across the ice a little in front of Shower. He'll go for a change. Williston will try to turn this back. Aviators hurrying off the bench. Anderson puts a little bit of a check on. Tied up along the wall. Comes out in the neutral zone. Williston will dump it back in, but that's offsides. And we'll get a face-off. It looks like right in front of the Aviators bench. Looks like the ref, not the linesman, is pointing at center ice, so we'll move it out. 11 to go here, first period, still 0-0. Mason Fiala on his line, Blasky and Fargo with him out there now for the Aviators. Mason Fiala pushing that one in. Big hit there, picked up by Fargo. Fargo shot sent on. Goaltender fights it off, pushes it behind the net. Blasky steals it, feeds it out front to Fiala. Fargo turns and fires. That one comes out front. Blasky batting at it, trying to get control of it. It looks like the goaltender was able to dive on that one. The Aviators were threatening there. Bouncing puck, though, never really got a solid shot on net. But either way, putting a little bit of pressure on Fiala to take the face off out there with Henderson and Daxon at defense. Williston has control, though. They'll work this one out into the neutral zone. Misplayed there. Daxon chips it up, gets it back to Fiala. Back they come, down the right side, into the zone. Sends it through the middle off his stick. It'll bounce over into the far corner. Blasky seals off that wall. Williston trying to poke this one out. Benson's able to keep it at the blue line. Dumps it back in. A little bit too far for Blasky, and Williston gets control. They go behind their own net. Chipped out. Kulak settles it down. He sends it off the wall, but forwards are going for a change, so Williston just stepped up, brought that one right into the zone down the left side, feeds it out front, but Benson steals it away. Feeds it up to Seffi. Seffi down the near side, brings it into the zone, cuts it to the middle. She gets tripped up. On the wide by stick, feeds it over to Benson. Benson down the far side in the corner, trying to spin and feed that one out front. Here's a chance for Yana. Turnaround shot, gets blocked, doesn't make it to the goaltender, and Williston's able to bring it out in the neutral zone. And back onto Benson's stick as he tried to feed that to the middle, went off a Williston player. Puck in the corner. Seffi steals it away. Skates this one forward down the far side, gets it out in the neutral zone, gets over the red line, dumps it in. She'll go for a change. Wide by the lone Aviator out there now with Yana joining him. And then Nicholson at the blue line. Tried to keep that one in, but puck loose right in front of the Williston bench. They're dangerously close to having a too many men call there as this one's dumped in. No ice on that one, as they say. Charlie could have played it. Up at the wall, gets it to Berg, but Weston steals that one back. Out to the point, Williston through traffic. That one hit Easton Green out front. He's blocked a couple shots here for the Aviators as Berg pokes out one forward, gets it up to Jody Schauer, slips one check but gets knocked down. That was Berg behind the net. They lost an edge and a stretch pass here to the far side. Henderson defending. Nice shots in on Dom. Makes the save on that one. Henderson with a big hit in that far corner. Henderson chips this one up the wall, but not out. Williston sends it in. Another block there by a defenseman. That was Charlie Miedema this time. He slips around. Should have been a hold there as the arm was stretched out and grabbed the hip of Miedema. Blasky trying to keep this one in the zone. Or keep it down low, I should say. Now Fargo in there battling along with a Williston player. Sent through the middle now into the neutral zone. Williston 1-on-2. In on Daxon on this near side. Henderson out front. Stuff attempt. That goes off of Dom. Couldn't get over there in time. And in the back of the net, Williston strikes first. They take a 1-0 lead. So Williston on the board first. 1-0 here with 7:52 to go in the first period. Fiala and his line out there to take the face off. Mason Fargo and Blasky with him. Henderson and Daxon at defense. Face off one back by the Aviators. Picked up by Blasky. Hands it off to Daxon. Daxon up to Fargo. Fargo feeds it to the middle, but it's stolen away by Williston. They send this one through the middle, but off of Blasky's stick. He stops at the blue line, but looks like it just came out, and we'll get an offsides call here on the Aviators. Face off right in front of Williston. Fiala to take the face off again here. One back by the Aviators. Henderson dumps it down in behind the net. Fiala's going to chase after it. Sent up the wall, comes up to the point. Daxon slows it down, dumps it back down below the goal line. Blasky will chase after it. Fiala over there as well. Puts on a big hit. Blasky trying to keep this one in. It comes loose over to Fargo. He'll just dump it down into the corner again. Williston will get after this one. They chip it behind the net. Fiala trying to chase it down. Big hit along the wall. Mason Fargo in there as well. Williston stretches it through the middle. Daxon defending, pokes that one away, goes into the corner. Williston gets on it right away. Daxon puts on a hit in the corner. Blasky tipped it off to Fiala as he'll skate this one over the red line, dump it down in, right on net. Goaltender makes his save. We get a whistle here. I'm not sure why they blew the whistle. We didn't even have a player in the zone. You can't be holding a puck like that when there's not an opposing player in the zone, but either way, I guess we'll get a whistle. In the corner, Yana trying to steal this one back. Seffi joins him, trying to dig this one loose, tied up along the wall. Looks like Seffi will get it clear. Wyatt comes over to help out. Wyatt will grab it in the corner, knocked off of his stick. Williston will send it up the wall, but it's caught up in Seffi's skates along the boards. Comes loose. Benson slides down to keep it in the zone. Steals it back, comes over to Seffi. Seffi backs it. Backhands one over into the corner. Williston able to get that up to the blue line, but not out. Benson was able to hold, but now they'll dump this one down. That'll go for icing as Kulak chases it down, but not in time. And we get an icing call and heading back down to the Williston end. So Seffi to take the face off out there with Caden Yana. Wide by Kulak and Benson on defense, tied up at the dot here. A couple players hit the ice. Seffi trying to get control of this one, but Williston will beat her to it. Chipped up the wall. Benson's able to keep it in. Sends it down towards the goaltender. He'll just push it off. Wyatt trying to get this one in the corner. Williston with control, goes behind their own net. Changes direction. They'll send it up the near side wall. Bouncing puck comes out to center ice off of Benson's hand. Williston gets control of it, and they'll bring this one into the zone down the right side. Cuts it to the middle, nicely defended there by Seffi. Picked up by Yana, lost control of it. Shot sent on, back of the net, up and over the glove. And a 2-0 lead here for Williston. couple of mistakes there in the zone lead to another goal. And it's a 2-0 lead here for Williston with 5:38 to go in the first period. Face off one back by the Aviators on to Easton Greenstick. He chips it forward, trying to get it to Luke Nicholson. Jordy Shower dumps that one in, but Nicholson was still in the zone, and we get an offsides call. The face-off coming right out in front of the Williston bench. Luke Nicholson, Jordy Shower, and Owen Berg are the forwards. Miedema and Easton Green are the defensemen. One back by Williston. They'll skate this one forward. Dumps it into the zone. Down in the corner, Miedema will chase after it. He slips one check. Nicholson will send it up the wall. That'll come out to the point. Williston will keep it in at the blue line. Just dump it back down low. That'll go off the back of the net. Picked up by Miedema. Sent through the middle. That goes through everybody. Comes to the near side. Berg grabs it. He'll send one through the middle and finds Shower. One man to beat. Swallowed up by three of them, though. Knocked off of his stick. Williston will try to dump this one out, but Berg will keep it in. He slips a check down in the corner, works it in down low, feeds it out to Nicholson, who got tied up, but Shower steals it away, feeds it out to the point to Green off of his stick and out in the neutral ice. Picked up by Miedema. He waits for people to get on side and hands it off to Berg. Williston rings around to the far side, kept in by Green. Dump back down low. Williston gets on it first. Nicholson trying to steal it away, but they'll send it up the wall now through the middle and out into the neutral zone. Miedema slowed it down, gave it to Berg. Berg dumps it back in, knocked down by the defenseman for Williston. Now knocked off of his stick by Blasky. Blasky in the corner. Trying to slip around the defenseman. He gets knocked down, but gets it over to Fargo. Fargo trying to feed it over to Fiala. Comes out to Henderson. Henderson shot through traffic, whistles by the far post. That didn't miss by much. Daxon keeps it in, gets it out to Fargo. Off of Daxon's stick, spin around attempt, kept it in for a moment, but here's a 3-on-1. Daxon trying to get back to help out. Nice defensive play there by Nick Henderson. Lost control, puck, but gets it back, dumps it down in. Stepped up nicely, put his stick in the passing lane, stole it away. Mason Fiala gets a shot on from the corner. Goaltender had to fight off a little bit. Wilson dumps this one on the center ice. Daxon slowed it down, knocks it off of Wilson's stick back into the zone, but they'll dump it right back out. Down into the Aviators' end and be picked up by Henderson. Henderson off the boards, gets up to Fargo. Fargo feeds up to Fiala, but off of his stick. Williston gets control again. Brought in a little late there. That'll be offsides. And we'll get a face-off here just outside the Aviators' end with 3:20 to play. Williston leading 2-0. Out comes Seffi's line with Wyatt By and Caden Yana. Kulak and Benson on defense. One back here by Williston. They send it down into their own end. Trying to send that one through the middle, whiffed on it, but stays with it and sends this one off the glass back down to the Aviators' end. Jumps over Kulak's stick. He'll chase it down, but Williston will get there first. Sent out to the top of the shot sent on there. Sorry about that. Sent on to Dom there. Kicks that one into the corner. Another shot sent on. Dom makes that save. I don't know if he was quite ready for that one. Benson in the corner. Makes a big hit. Dumps this one, but it comes out to the point. Shot sent on. That one whistles wide. Kulak will chase after it in the near side corner. Sends it up the wall. Gets it out in the neutral ice. Williston with control. They'll send this one all the way over to by their bench. They'll get on it first, but stolen away here by Kenyana right in front of his own bench. And somehow Williston was able to dump that one down in. Kulak sends it out to the blue line, but not out. Actually, they will say it was offsides. And we'll get a face-off here right outside of the Aviators' end with 2:16 to play in this first period. The shot's still showing in favor of the Aviators 8-7, but they trail 2-0 on the scoreboard. Dump down in. It'll be Miedema that chases after it. Sends it up the wall to Berg. Berg got through the middle, got knocked away. Williston able to keep it in at the blue line. Easton Green, actually, they'll knock it out on their own. Dump back down in. Dom will try to stop that one behind the net. Looks like he will. Leaves it off for Easton. Easton try to chip that one up the wall. Comes out to the point. Williston with control still. Dumps it back down low. Williston winning the battles right now. Getting to the puck before the Aviators and a lot of opportunities. Here's Berg off the wall. Makes a move. Try to feed it over to Shower. That was off the mark. Williston turns it right back in. Down the right side. Behind the net. 1-on-5 here. Williston still with control. Went off a stick there, comes out in the neutral zone. Williston turns it right back in, working on Miedema. Trying to get around, hooked there by Miedema. And we'll get a penalty here on the Aviators. So 5-on-4 opportunity for Williston here with the minute 13 to play in the first period with a 2-0 lead. Can't say that was a bad penalty. It was trying to stop a scoring chance. Did what he had to do. But either way, we get the 2-minute penalty up on the board. Minute 13 to play here. First period, Williston with a 2-0 lead. Off the sidewall. Finds a back door. Dom makes the save on that one. Nice little play, find the player back door, but Dom was able to read that like a book and get it over there and make a save. Williston still with control. Off the sidewall, they're looking to try to feed it up front. They're out top here. They get the shot on, sent through traffic, gets tipped and goes wide. Dom almost slid out of the net there, but Williston still with control. They push it down low. Now they feed it out to the point. Works it off the boards. Nice defensive play there by Mason Fiala, knocking that puck away and under the neutral zone. Williston brings it right back in. A couple of players collide. Williston still with control, though. They feed it back out to the point, now down the sidewall. Working off the sidewall, they work it out to the top again. Shots sent in. Dom getting a little bit of a bump there from a Williston player and Henderson. Battle for it behind the net. Baxton chases after along the wall, ties his player up against the wall, but Williston still with control. They work it off the wall out to the point, but that's the end of the first period. A 2-0 lead for Williston after one. Still 47 seconds to go on the penalty when we start the second period. So obviously with that power play opportunity and the shots sent on, Williston has taken over in the shot department now 9-8, but they lead by 2 on the scoreboard. Aviators are going to have to start getting some opportunities down in the offensive zone here. Get some pucks on net, get people to the net. They've had a couple opportunities, but not a lot of grade A scoring chances here in this first 15 minutes, but still 2 more periods to go, so lots of time to get back in this one. Done a good job of staying out of the box, but they cannot let frustration set in and start taking silly penalties here. Otherwise, they will put themselves in a bad spot to start getting back into this game. As I was saying, 47 seconds to go on the power play for Williston. Should be getting a Zamboni break after the second period, I would hope. Ice is already looking a little chewed up out there. The bigger they get, the more ice they chew up. Seems like a pretty long break, but looks like one referee's ready to go as he blows the whistle, calls the teams to center ice. Goaltender's heading back down to their end. Dom's already down there ready to go. Out come the Aviators. Charlie will head to the box for another 47 seconds. Henderson and Daxton on defense. Looks like it'll be Fiala and Blasky as the forwards here for the Aviators. That more than likely means that Charlie will head to the box and get Fargo out there right away, as that one's won back by Williston. They go D to D in their own zone. About 40 seconds to go on the power play. Brought in on the near side. They dump it through the middle. Daxon knocks it off. Arm goes up. Not sure what that call was for. We're going to say tripping. So a two-man advantage here for the next 32 seconds for Williston. And another extended 5-on-4 power play after that. A face-off in the Aviators' end. One back by Williston. They work at the top. Down to the near side, back out to the top again. Back down the wall, looking for that backdoor play. They had it, but misfired on it. Trying to set it up again, it looks like. Shot sent on through traffic. Dom makes the save on that one. Henderson gathers it up, trying to get this one out, but Williston will steal it away and keep this one in. Nice defensive play there by Henderson. Knocks it away, tied up in the corner. He'll push this one up the wall. He's getting trapped up pretty good, but able to dump it down. Rolling puck. Goaltender won't let that one go for icing, as they'll step up on that one. Here's a 3-on-2 opportunity for Williston. But Fiala getting back into play, makes it 3-on-3. Williston slows it down, sets it up anyways. Shot sent on. They're going to say no goal on this one. Yeah, looks like goaltender interference will be called on this one. Face-off coming outside of the zone. Coaches for Williston trying to figure this out, but it looks like a little bit of a chicken wing shot on Dom there, trying to make the save. Ref saw it right away. He blew the whistle instantly and waved it off. Either way, they're going to argue, and it's not going to change, so we'll get a face-off outside the zone here. We'll stay 2-0, minute 14 to go, still on the power play here for Williston. Oh, it looks like we'll move it over in front of the Williston bench. Seffi up there with wide by Kulak and Benson. Dump down into the Aviators' end. Benson will chase after down below the goal line. Picks it up behind the net. Escape this one. Trying to feeds it up to Kulak. Dumped all the way down, arm up. We'll get an icing call here. And we'll move it all the way back down into the Aviators' end. About a minute to go on the power play. Aviators need to get out of this one without giving one up, get back to work on tying this one up, or cutting into the lead, I should say, as they trail by 2. 13:46 to go here, second period. Face off, won by Williston. They send this one towards the front of the net. Benson picks it up. He chips this one out. Trying to get a little bit of a touch on it, but it looks like it'll go all the way down. And we'll head back down into the Aviators' end again. I think we talked about it on another broadcast at one point. It's not a bad strategy. If you keep winning the face-off, dump it down. That killed about 10 seconds right there. So if you can do it enough times, it is a way to penalty kill for sure with this rule of no ice on the penalty kill. Shot sent on right in the glove of Dom. He holds on. And we're going to face off again. 46 seconds to go on the power play for Williston. Face off. One into the corner, tied up in the corner was Kulak, but Williston digs it out. They feed it out to the point. Misplayed there. Steffi will pick it up and skate out in the neutral zone. Has Wyatt with her. Feeds it over to Wyatt. Brings it into the zone, trying to get through the defense. Almost got there, but got caught up on a skate. Williston will just dump this one in. Dom slows it down. Williston gets on it first. Benson puts on a big hit in the corner. Picked up by Kulak. Misplayed there a little bit off of his stick. Steffi comes back to try to steal it back. Chipped out. Here's Seffi. Gets behind the defense. Trying to chase this one down the left side. Brings it in. Shots it on. Whistles just wide. Comes all the way around as the Aviators are going for a change. Benson sends that one in early. Seffi was still trying to get out. We get an offside call. Looks like we're going to move this one to center ice. There's a little more of an intentional offsides, but killing some valuable time. Only 2 seconds left on the power play. Dax will come out up onto the ice. Looks like he'll head to the boxes. Nicholson and Berger out there. Easton Green and Miedema on defense. We should see the Aviators send out a forward. And they will. That'll be Jordy Schauer coming on. Williston sending that one out front, but stopped by Miedema. Over to Green. Green trying to get this one up to Berg, and Will out in the center ice, dumps it down into the Williston end. Williston will get there first. Off of Berg's stick. Williston gets to the puck though, and they'll skate this one out the far side. Miedema trying to chase down. Shot sent on right into the glove of Dom. He holds on, and we'll get a face-off. 12:15 to go. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Williston leading the Aviators 2-0 though. Aviators trying to cut into this lead, but we'll get a face-off here in the defensive zone. Nicholson will take the face-off with Berg and Schauer as his wingers. Miedema and Green on defense, picked up by Berg. Lost the handle on it, loops back a little bit, gets hooked up a little bit, caught up in the skate. Miedema comes in to help out, sends it over to the near side, gets it to Schauer. Schauer slows it down along the wall, but gets tied up. Battle for it here, comes out to the point. Williston with control, they'll dump it back out to the point here. Barely kept in, they'll just dump it back down in the corner. Easton Green. Williston, shot sent on, bouncing, knocked down out of the air. Comes onto the stick of Nicholson. Nicholson dumps it off the wall, dumps it down. Looks like we'll get an icing call. And head it back down to the Aviators' end. 11:37 to go, second period. Aviators trailing this one 2-0. Fiala's line comes out with Blasky and Mason Fargo, Daxon and Henderson on defense. One back by Williston. They feed it down in the corner. Fiala with a big check along the boards. It comes loose, but Williston's able to keep it in. Shot sent on, goes off a Henderson's stick. Over to Daxon. He tries to feed up to Fargo. Dumps it out. Looks like it'll come to Miedema. Or excuse me, Fiala. Here's a 2-on-1. Blasky on the near side. Fiala down in. Shot sent on. Goaltender makes the save. Puck along the far wall. Williston's able to dump that one out into the neutral zone. Henderson ties it up along the board. Couldn't dump it in right away as there were still players off sides. Fargo coming in to help out. Henderson kicks it into the zone. Now Fargo trying to chase that one down. Henderson was able to keep it in, but Williston gets it loose, and they'll work it out the far side. They'll dump this one in. Daxon will have to chase after it behind his own net. Sends it up the wall, gets up to Blasky. Blasky back to Daxon, lost the handle on it. Williston with control in the corner. They feed it through the middle, comes out to the point, kept in at the blue line. They'll just chip this one down low. Daxon will catch that one and skate it forward. Cuts it to the far side, brings it in. Shot sent on, goaltender makes the save. Daxon out of the corner trying to feed out front, went off a couple players. Daxon again with a backhand, bouncing puck. Goaltender elects to just catch that one, hold on, and we'll get a face-off. Ten minutes, 25 seconds to go here. Second period, 2-0 lead for Williston. Seffi's line out there with Yana and Bai on the stick of Yana. Feeds it out to the point to Kulak. Kulak down the wall, gets it back to Seffi. Tied up along the board. Yana comes over to help out, but it comes out in the neutral zone. That one dumped in there early by Kulak. And we'll get a face-off here just outside the zone in front of the Aviators bench. Seffi to take the face-off. One back by Williston. It goes down into the corner. Wyatt trying to chase it down. Yana coming around the other side. Steals it away. Backhands one back to Wyatt, but stolen away by Williston. They'll feed one through the middle. It's played there, though. Benson will keep it in at the blue line. Dumps it back down below the goal line. Seffi will try to chase after this one. Takes it away behind the net. Gets ran into. Picked up by Wyatt. We get an arm up. There'll be a penalty here on Williston. We'll see what the call is. It should probably be an interference call or maybe even something to the head. I doubt it's to the head, though, because that would be an extended penalty. So it looks like it is an interference call. So opportunity here for the Aviators to cut into this lead as they'll go on the power play. 5-on-4 for the next 2 minutes. 9:54 to go in the second period. Caden Yana to take the face-off out there between Seffi and Wyatt. Kulak and Benson on defense. Comes loose to Seffi. She feeds it out to Benson. Benson slows things down, feeds it over to Kulak. Kulak back to Benson. Feeds it back door, gets to Wyatt. Makes a move, went backhand, puck loose, rolls into the back of the net. Power play goal. Wyatt by finds the back of the net. Nifty little move. Faked the forehand shot, moved it to his backhand, tried to go up and over the shoulder of the goaltender. Goaltender makes the save, but it leaks out Defenseman couldn't keep it out as well. And the Aviators just 9 seconds into the power play cut into this lead, make it 2-1 with 9:44 to play second period. Face off one back by Yana, but Williston gets there first. Kulak will grab it in his own zone, goes behind the net with some speed. Got hooked up there a little bit. A couple of players calling for a call there. Pace is picking up here a little bit as Williston sends that one through the middle. Benson sends it over to the far side. Williston gets control though, brings it right back into the zone. Kulak lining up a big hit, but player slipped away from it. Now it'll be Benson. Feeds it through the middle, taken away, puck loose at the top of the zone. Benson steals it right back, trying to cut it through the middle. But they'll say that went off sides. And we'll get a face-off right in front of the Williston bench. 9 minutes, 10 seconds to go here, second period. 2-1 lead for Williston. They led 2-0. Aviators scoring just a moment ago on the power play, cutting into the lead. Williston brings that one into the zone down the near side, slows things up, dumps it down in the corner. Easton Green with it. Takes a look, tied up. Trying to push this one up the wall. Nicholson comes in. Williston digs it away. They feed it out into the slot, but swallowed up nicely there by Jordy Schauer. He feeds it over to Berg. Berg down the far right side, brings it into the zone. Gets around the defenseman. Shot sent on. That surprised the goaltender, but ended up going wide and over to the near side. Easton Green dumps it back down the corner. Nice tip there by Berg. Got it up to Nicholson. Nicholson slipped it through the legs to Schauer, but whiffed on that one a little bit. We find ourselves back down in the Aviators' end. Stuff attempt there. Dom's able to get the leg over and stops that one before they're able to flip it into the net. Covers it up, and we'll get a whistle. And a face-off here in the Aviators' end. Shots showing 14-14, all tied up on that department, but Williston still with the 1-goal lead here as we hit the midway point of the second period. Fiala's line out there with Blasky and Fargo, Henderson and Norby on defense. Henderson skates this one forward, trying to get around the defenseman. Has one to beat. Fiala in as well. Whiffed on that shot. Fiala gets control though. Tried to feed it out to Blasky at the point. Fiala trying to get control of it again, but Williston will feed it out through the middle. Comes to Henderson. He backhands one through the middle, but Williston gains control again. Now Fiala trying to get this one settled down, but we'll get a high sticking call here on Williston. Not a penalty. We'll just move it all the way back down into their end. And we're going to face off on this near side of the Williston end. Fiala's line staying out there for the Aviators. Daxon and Nick still on defense. Mason to take the face off, one over to the near side wall. Williston will get control. Blasky and Fiala in there trying to steal that one away, but Williston will work it out far side. Daxon at the blue line trying to get that one out. He'll send it off the wall, but not out once again. Now Fargo trying to get it out. Battle for it right in front of the bench. Comes loose to Daxon, takes a look, sends one through the middle, but right off the back of Blasky trying to hit Fiala over here on the near side. That puck leaks through and comes to Mason Fargo. Fargo brought in the zone, gets knocked off of his stick, and Wilson turns it right back. But Fiala comes back to help out, gets it on the stick of Henderson. Henderson over to Norby. Norby up the wall, gets it to Fargo. Fargo brings it in the zone down the right side. Slows things up in the corner, gets tripped up there a little bit, right in front of the ref. A little bit of a slew foot. They'll say it's a hockey play. Shot sent on by Kulak, finds the goaltender, but he keeps that one out of the net. Now off of Benson's stick. Kulak comes over. Dangerous play there. Benson will skate this one forward. Got chipped up a little bit. Blasky trying to knock it out of the air, but Williston will bring this one back towards the Aviators' end. Working on Kulak, but stick lifted there by Benson. Kulak will ring it over to the far side to Sefi. She overskated that one just a little bit. Centering pass comes in all alone. Finds the back of the net. Busted play there, and a 2-goal lead again for Williston as they make it 3-1 with 6:47 to go in the second period. Oh, 2-goal lead, 3-1 here in favor of Williston. Williston pushed that one into the zone. Kulak, nifty little move, gets it out, but stolen away here by Williston. They'll turn it right back in. Dump down the wall. Seffi gets control, tries to send it up to Yana, comes out to the point. Williston's able to keep it in. They'll push it down deeper. Benson gets it up to Yana. Yana backhands one through the middle, right over to wide by, but it jumped over a stick, and Williston will push it back towards the Aviators' end. Bouncing puck brought in, shots in on, gloves that one, holds on. We'll get a whistle. And a face-off coming in the Aviators' end. 6 minutes, 18 seconds. Second period. 3-1 lead here for Williston over the Aviators. First game, the Grand Forks Top Gun Challenge. Nicholson's line out there. He'll take the face-off. Out there with Berg and Schauer. Miedema and Green on defense. Down goes Berg. Push forward here by Nicholson. Feeds it to the middle, gets to Schauer. Williston steals that one away. Back out in the neutral zone. Miedema steps up, grabs it, gets it back to Berg. Berg brings it into the zone, feeds it to the middle, trying to get it over to Nicholson, but Williston stole it away, and they'll ring it around. Easton will try to keep that one at the point, sends it bouncing puck in. Goaltender had to fight that one off, came bouncing up. Was able to get a blocker on that. Sent out to the blue line. Knocked away by Miedema. Berg comes over, big hit along the wall, caught up in the skates of a Williston player, and they'll dump it down into the Aviators' end. Easton Green will chase after this one. It's knocked down, goes down on top of the puck in the corner. Williston trying to push this one out. Battle for it. Miedema will grab it, rings it around to the near side to Schauer. Big hit along the wall there, fed out to the point, blocked there by Berg. Miedema trying to poke this one away. Out to the point, shots in on through traffic. Dom makes the save, pushes it away. Aviators just trying to get the puck out of the zone, but cannot. Williston controlling play here. Another shot sent on traffic. There's a high stick call here, and we'll get a face-off all the way back down in the Williston end. So Aviators getting a little bit of luck there as Williston was just dominating play in the offensive zone. Looks like we're going to move this one to center ice. Fiala's line comes out for the Aviators with Fargo and Blasky. Daxon, Henderson on defense. 5:03 to go in this second period as Williston dumps this one in. Henderson will chase after it. Tied up, gets control though, goes behind his own net, feeds it up the wall, gets it to Fargo. Fargo through the middle, gets up to Blasky. Blasky through the middle, brings it in, dumps it down in. Brings it around, it'll come to Fargo on the far side. He'll chip it down low for Blasky. Big hit there by Mason Fargo. Williston gets control though and dumps it back down. Come to the Aviators' end. Henderson sending it over to Daxon. Daxon will push it forward, gets up to Fargo. He lost control of it though and dump back in here. Misplayed just a little bit. Backhand attempt there, but nice defensive play again by Nick Henderson. Backhanded in on Dom, but they'll say offsides, and we'll get a face-off right in front of the Williston end, bench. With 4:21 to play here, second period. Aviators back on top in their shots department, 17-16, but trailing by 2 as it's 3-1 Williston. Zephyr to take the face-off out there with Caden Yana and Wyatt by. Wyatt with control, got hooked up there, couldn't quite get the puck over to Yana, but Benson steps up and feeds it forward. Tied up along the boards with Yana. He gets it through the middle, but Williston steals it away. That one goes off of Benson. Williston kicks that one in down below the goal line. Big hit there by Benson in the corner. Comes to Yana. Yana feeds it up to Safi. Safi gets absolutely rocked to the face, arm up. We will get a penalty here on Williston. We will see if we get a major here. That was absolutely contact to the head, but the ref was behind. Safi probably didn't quite see the contact directly to the face. So I believe it will be a 2-minute penalty here on Williston. Aviators will go on the power play. 2 minutes up on the board, 3:52 to go here. Second period, Aviators with the man advantage here for the next 2 minutes. They scored just 9 seconds into their first power play opportunity. Here's Benson. To the top, lost control of it, feeds it over to Wyatt. Dump down low. Yana will grab this one behind the net. Seffi will grab this one now. Lost control, trying to get it over to Yana. Williston steals it away. Yana trying to steal it back behind the net. Will do that. Gets it up to Kulak. Kulak over to Benson. Benson, one-timer off the mark. Another shot sent on. Bouncing puck sent in on the goaltender there by Seffi, but able to get a glove on it. And we'll get a face-off here on the near side of the Williston end. Minute 33 still to go on the power play here for the Aviators. Yana to take the face-off out there centering Seffi and wide by. Benson and Kulak on defense. Back straight to Benson. Over to Kulak. Kulak works it in. Back to Benson. Shot sent on. Goes just wide. Seffi gets on it. Yana backhands one out to Wyatt. Knocked off of his stick right away. Big step up there by Benson. It comes loose to Seffi. She tries to feed it over to Benson, but it comes out in the neutral zone. Benson will get control here. Skates this one forward. Good little pick there by Seffi. Benson trying to get the shot off. Lost the puck. No, it does end up getting a shot off. Still has a puck behind the net. Gets it up to Seffi. She gets a shot off. Goaltender makes a nice save there. Keeps that one on the net. Seffi behind the net. Gets caught up a little bit by the back of the cage there, but she still has the puck. Feeds it up to Benson. Benson down low. Gets it to Yana. Yana back to Benson. Benson over to Kulak. Kulak dumps it down low. Comes to Yana. Williston steals that one away. They'll skate it out. Still 39 seconds to go on the power play. They'll dump this one. Rings around to the near side. Yana will get it first for the Aviators. Gets tied up along the boards. Williston will steal it away down below the goal line. Behind the net. Kulak trying to steal it back, but Williston still with control. They'll send it. So another penalty coming here on Williston, as they had too many men out there. Still 19 seconds to go on the power play, but they had 5 guys out there. So for 19 seconds, it'll be a 5-on-3. And the Aviators will stay on the power play for another minute 41 after that, barring any other penalties called either way. 2 minutes, 11 seconds to go here, second period. Nicholson to take the face-off out there with Schauer and Berg. Henderson and Daxon on defense. One over to the far side. Daxon will chase it down, tries to keep it in. Takes a shot, goes off a Nicholson skate behind the net. About 10 seconds to go before Williston gets one man back, fed over to Daxon. Daxon back to Henderson. Henderson walks it in, shots it on. Goes off the goaltender's shoulder, but up and over the back of the net. Here's Schauer working out of the corner. Feeds it back to Nicholson. Nicholson trying to feed out front, goes off a stick. Williston gets one player back. They'll dump this one down for icing. It's still a minute 31 to go here on the power play, the second power play, I guess, for the Aviators. The Fiala's line comes out for the Aviators out there between Mason Fargo and Ryder Blasky. Nick Henderson, Daxon Norby on defense. Fiala to take the face off. Bouncing puck goes into the corner, stolen away by Blasky. He goes behind the net, Fargo feeds it out to Henderson. Henderson shots it on, goaltender makes the save. Puck loose, back of the net. Goaltender thought he had it, but it leaked out. Ref was back there, saw it the whole way, and it's Mason Fargo finds the back of the net on the power play, and it's a one-goal game again. Oh, a minute 32 to go here, second period, a 3-2 lead for Williston. Aviators doing well on the power play. Now with 2 power play goals out of 3 chances. And we'll get a face-off here at center ice. Fiala wins it over the near side boards. Henderson will step up, bringing this one into the zone, cuts it to the middle. Still with control, fires, goes behind the net. Williston with control, feeds it up to the point, kept in there by Mason Fargo. Fargo gets it down low to Blasky. Blasky behind the net, gets it stolen away from him. Fargo comes up, but Williston able to feed that one out. Bouncing puck through center ice, knocked down by Henderson. Williston gets control. Fiala trying to put a big hit on there, scared the player away. Williston ends up dumping it back in, but it's off sides. And we're going to face off here just outside the zone. Minute and 2 seconds to go. It's the one-goal game here. Williston still on top 3-2. But Aviators battling back, getting their opportunities on the power play. Both their goals have been power play goals. Seffi's line's out there. She'll take the face-off, push forward. We're going to say an illegal face-off here, as I believe these wingers on the backside, that was Kenyana and one of the players from Williston cheating a little bit. So we'll reset and do it again. Wide by the other winger out there was Seffi and Yana. Easton Green and Charlie Miedema on defense. Face off, one back. Comes the Easton Green, sent out to the red line. Seffi's going to chase this one down in the Williston zone. They'll get there first, but Seffi putting pressure on. Goes down hard in the corner. They'll dump this one out to the point. Kept in by Easton Green. Shot sent off of a Williston skate. Miedema comes over to pick it up. He'll dump it back down in. Seffi trying to steal that one away. Williston will continue to skate this one down towards the Aviators' end. Down the zone, down the left side. Shot sent on, bounces over the top of Dom's head. It comes up the near side wall. Yana's able to chip that one down, but looks like it will go for icing. Defenseman absolutely slowed up to a crawl there and let that one go. On the ref, not sure, or excuse me, the linesman, I'm not sure why he didn't call that one off, as the defenseman didn't even try, but either way, it's called icing, and we're going to face off in the Aviators' end with 23.7 seconds to go here, second period. Nicholson to take the face off. We'll reset and do it again as the winger was caught cheating. Changing out the, well, maybe they won't change out the centerman here. Tied up at the dot, shot sent on, goes wide over to the far side. Bergen try to chase it down, gets it out to the blue line. Now into the neutral zone. Williston will get control again, about 12 seconds to go here. Through the middle, off the mark, comes into the Aviators' end, picked up by Kulak. He'll chip it off the glass out to the blue line, comes to Berg. Berg through the middle up to Shower. That should about do it, as Jordy tried to pull the trigger there, but that's the end of the second period. So 2 periods in the books. 3-2 lead for Williston. We'll head to the locker rooms. We'll get some fresh ice for these teams to play on. It should be an exciting one for this one. The Aviators lead in the shot department 19-17, but trail by 1, headed to the third period. We're going to take a short little break, use the facilities, maybe grab a bite to eat, and we'll be back for the third period shortly. Hopefully you can join us. It should be a fun one. All right, here we go. Third period about to get underway. Teams are hitting the ice first. Williston about to join them as well. Here to our right. We are playing 5-on-5 here as we get the third period started. Lots of penalties in that second period. I believe 3 for Williston, 1 for the Aviators. Aviators will have to continue to stay out of the box, not give Williston, actually I should say 2 for the Aviators, 3 for Williston. But Aviators have to stay out of the box, not give Williston any opportunities that they don't need to, because Aviators trail by 1 here. With 15 minutes to play, they will have to try get shots on this goaltender. He has showed that he doesn't necessarily control the puck the greatest. And we'll need to clean up those rebounds just a little bit if they want to get back in this game. But playing well. Showing a little energy, a little hustle, some big hits. Need to get some shots from the point. Clear up pucks in front of their own net and get the, not allow Williston any extra opportunities here. As the referees, both teams out on the ice, gathering around their benches real quick. Dom down in his net, ready to go. Starting 5 getting ready to come out on the ice here. Looks like it'll be the Nicholson line out there with Berg and Schauer, Daxon, and Nick Henderson at defense. Looks like referees trying to delay just a little bit here. Seeing some wet spots out on the ice. They want the ice to freeze up a little bit more before we get going here, which is good. You don't want to get caught with the water monster in a third period tight game like this and the one team score off of that. So referees allowing it to freeze up. Do have a little bit of time. They're not strapped for time at the moment. Although this game ends up going to overtime, that may change, and the 2 teams playing afterwards may have to adjust what they're doing just a little bit. Oh, Aviators out there getting their legs warm still. Williston was talking with the coach. Looks like they'll join them here as well as we wait just a few more minutes to get things going. Hopefully it won't be too long, but you can still see some wet spots on each end. Right below the dots, probably won't show up on the camera, but right below the dots on each end. Ref throwing a puck out there to test things out. As you can see it kind of just sliding across the ice here. Not bad at center ice, but both corners still a little wet. Looks like we're getting closer. Good test down here to the right. Another good attempt there with the puck, so I think we'll get this one underway here pretty darn quickly. Ice still looks pretty tore up. But a little fresher than it was, less snow out there. Looks like we'll get this period underway. So 15 minutes up on the board. Williston with the 1-goal lead. They lead 3-2 with 15 minutes to play. Third period. Nicholson line out there for the Aviators. Here we go. Pucked in one back by Williston. They'll get control. We'll skate this one forward down the left side. Working on Daxon through the legs. With control behind the net, Williston goes to the far side. Feed to the back door here. Poked away there by Berg, but Williston gathers it up, trying to feed it back door. Nice play there by Henderson, knocked that one away. Williston still with control, but Nicholson will pick this one up, skates it forward. Gets up to the blue line, backhands one over, but stolen away by Williston. They'll dump it right back in. Henderson gets on it first, bumps one behind his own net, gets it over to Shower. Shower skates it forward, feeds it over, trying to get it to Berg on the side. Defenseman stopped that one. Berg trying to feed it up the wall. Williston ties him up along the wall, and they'll skate this one back down into the Aviators' end, but gets caught up there a little bit. Berg gets it up to Nicholson. Nicholson trying to dump that one in. Berg grabs that one on the air, brings it into the zone. He's all alone, 1-on-5. Aviators going to change. Backhanded out front. Berg trying to control that one. Williston steals it away. It comes up the wall to Fiala. Fiala dumps it down in the corner. Blasky trying to seal the wall off here. Sent out to the point, kept in by Benson. Gets it to Blasky, but knocked off of his stick. Benson keeps the line again, but Williston has control. They'll send it off the wall and out down the ice. It comes to Kulak. Kulak in his own end. Turns, looks, feeds up to Fargo. Off of his stick to the defenseman. Knocked down there by Fargo, but Williston will get control. Would have been a high stick if the Aviators had touched it. Kulak sent it down to the Williston end. They'll go D to D. Cuts through the middle. Fargo that one at the blue line. Brings it down the right side. Uses his big frame. Lost the handle on that one. Down he goes in the corner, and Williston will send it up the wall. Now centering pass. Gets through everybody, but comes loose to Kulak. He'll send it up the wall. Gets it back up to Mason Fargo. Knocks it down. Brings it into the zone. Works on the defenseman, pushes him down, picks up the puck along the wall, but it gets caught up in the ref skates. Centering pass comes right to Gianna. Gianna pushes one towards the goaltender, but the goaltender covers that one up, and we'll get a face-off here in the Williston end. So 12:57 to go here. Third period, 3-2 lead for Williston. Seffi's line comes out with Caden Gianna wide by Miedema and Green on defense. Williston wins the face-off. They go behind their own net. Send it up the far side. Now centering pass, stolen away there by wide by, but Williston will steal it right back, and they'll bring it in the zone down the right side. Shots it on, block it away there by Dom. Bouncing puck, picked up by Seffi. She'll skate this one forward, 1-on-2. Works it to the outside, gets around the defenseman. Lots of speed. Tied up, gets it back to Yana. Yana tried to feed it out to point, went off the skate. Seffi gets it back. She tried to feed it out to Miedema, but her stick got knocked a little bit. And the puck picked up here by Williston. Brought in by Williston. Knocked away by Miedema. Up to Bai. Bai hands it off to Seffi. Down the right side. Slows it up as she gets in the zone. Turns around, fires one on net. Goaltender hands it off to his defenseman. A little bit of the water monster there right around the net as they'll feed this one off the glass and down the ice. Looks like it'll go for icing. Henderson trying to chase it down, but we'll get the icing call, and we'll head back down into the Williston end for a face-off. They'll face off down here in the Williston end. Nicholson's line back out there for the Aviators. Berg and Shower with him. Daxon and Nick on defense. Winger's getting called here for illegal face-off, so we'll reset and do it again. And into the corner. Nicholson trying to dig this one out, caught up in the skates here. Berg trying to dig it loose. It'll come loose. Williston will chase after it to the far side corner. Shower trying to seal this off. Centering pass comes out to the centerman. Picked up by Williston down the right side. Henderson trying to slow him down, pushes him down low. They bring it over to the near side. Poked away by Berg. Williston gets on it, send it out to the point. They dump it right back down in the corner. Nicholson trying to steal it away, tied up along the boards. Berg comes in as well to help out. Still tied up along the boards. It'll be Nicholson trying to push this one out to the blue line. Does come out, but Wilson's able to dump it back down into the far corner where it'll be picked up by Henderson. Henderson off the boards, trying to get this one out. But Williston able to keep it in the high slot. Opportunity here, trying to get around the defense. Trying to drop that one off for the winger. But Henderson read that one and was able to steal it away. Now it's along the boards again. Comes loose over to Daxon in front of his own net. He'll skate this one forward. Player gets tripped up. Daxon brings it in. Stayed on side, but it was knocked back out in the neutral zone. Centering pass there a little bit too far for Mason Fargo. He'll get control along the near side, dumps it down in. Williston fenceman will get on it first, though. Feeds it up the near side corner. And now over to the far side. Kulak dumps it back out in center ice. Blasky trying to get back there, but Williston, player coming off the bench, is able to get there first. Now Fiala tied up in front of the scorer's box. It comes loose to Mason Fargo, but knocked off of his stick. Back comes Williston. Benson trying to steal it away. It was Mason Fargo that actually got the stick lift there and stole it away. Kulak trying to push this one out, but Williston able to keep it in the zone. Centering pass goes off a Williston player's stick. High slot, shots it on, blockered away there by Dom. Kulak will clear this one off the glass. Williston will dump it back down in. Sent through the middle there, dangerous play. Kept out of the net, right out in front, shots in on. Dom kicked that one away, puck loose on the side of the net. Looks like it's behind the net. Williston gets control, they'll feed it out to the point. Shots in on, right in the stomach of Dom. He'll get a hold on that one and we'll get a face-off. So 9:42 to go here. Third period, 3-2 lead for Williston. Shots tied up now, 21-21. Defensive zone face-off here for the Aviators. Caden Yana will take the face-off out there with Seffi. And wide by Easton Green and Miedema on defense. Williston with control, working this one out front off of Dom's leg. Gets a glove back on it, freezes that puck, and we're going to face off again, far side of the Aviators' end. Seffi to take the face off this time, switching out with Yana. Ties this one up at the dot. Williston gets control. They'll work it around to the near side. Seffi goes down, tied up along the wall. Williston will get control down in the corner. They work it out front. Tied up nicely there by Miedema. Miedema backhands one over to Yana. Yana slips a check, trying to get this one out of the zone. Seffi's able to poke it out, but Williston gets control. Now Bai knocks that one away, but Williston brings it into the zone. Far side, shots it on, blocked by Yana, comes back out in the neutral zone. Williston will have to regroup, get back on side. They'll send this one off the wall. Dump back down in. Dom slows that down, hands it off to Miedema. Miedema up the near wall, gets it to Wyatt. Wyatt over to the far side, finds Yana. Yana back to Wyatt. Trying to go through the middle, gets swallowed up her way in. Williston brings it back in down the left side. Shots in on. Short side goes up and off the glass and around the zone. Schauer gets this one out in the neutral zone, but he's battling with two Williston players. Williston with a little bit more jump than the Aviators right now as they bring it right back down in. Working on Miedema, shots in on. Dom makes the save on that one. Williston feeds it out to the point. Shots in on through traffic. Dom fought that one off, made the leg save. Sent off the side of the net, puck loose. Dom makes the save, whistle blows, no goal underneath him. And we'll get a face-off here in the Aviators' end. Dangerous play there, but Aviators escape and stays a 3-2 game. 8 minutes, 17 seconds to go. Third period, Williston still with a 3-2 lead. It'll be Nicholson to take the face-off in his defensive zone. One back by Williston to the point. Shots in on through traffic. Dom saw that one. Gets it froze, and we'll reset and do it again. Nicholson out there with Owen Berg and Jordy Schauer, Daxon and Nick Henderson on defense. Nicholson to take the face-off, tied up at the dot, comes loose over to Schauer, bouncing puck comes in on Dom. He had to make the save on that one. Berg hands it off to Daxon. Daxon sends it up, comes right to a Williston player though. Bouncing puck comes in on Dom. He gets a glove on it, holds on, and we'll get a face-off. Oh, Williston all over the Aviators at the moment. The Aviators will change out their players. Comes out the Fiala line with Blasky and Fargo. Benson and Kulak on defense. Mason Fiala to take the face-off. Tied up. Comes out to the point. Williston. Shot sent out through traffic. Got tipped. Dom had to fight that one off. Benson will follow this one up. Gets it out in the neutral zone. Puck comes loose over to Mason Fargo. Off of his stick, though, and Wilson's able to chip it back out. We got a whistle here on the back side. Looks like it'll be Mason Fargo headed to the penalty box. A little frustration setting in. Those are the penalties we talked about we can't have at this point, so a roughing call And a power play opportunity here for Williston with 7:47 go, third period. They'll have the man advantage for the next 2 minutes. They have a 1-goal lead. They'll look to double that up here on the power play. Fiala and Blasky, the forwards. Benson and Kulak, the defensemen. One back by Williston. Shot sent out through traffic. Dom holds on to that one. We'll get a face off. Williston working players to the front of the net, trying to get traffic out front. Dom is able to see that one, holds on. And we'll get the face-off. Fiala take the face-off again here in the defensive zone on the penalty kill. Tied up at the dot. Williston gets it. Shot sent on, goes up and over the net. Comes over to the near side. Williston works it to the top. Now down the side, went off of Fiala's skate, but picked up again by Williston. They work it in and out. Now behind the net, stuff attempt. Right in on Dom. He'll hold on to that one. And we'll get a face-off here on the near side as Williston changes out one of their defensemen. 1:39 still to go on the power play. Face-off one back to the point. Shot sent on. Dom didn't quite see that one, but it whistled wide. Williston, short side, works it out front. Shot that one up and over the net. Comes out to the point. They work it to the top. Now to the side, now to the top again, back down to the side, looking for that pass across, but Kulak was reading that nicely and was covering that player up. They work it back out to the top again. Shot sent out through traffic. Dom didn't quite see that one, but it went up and over the net. Williston dumps it around to the far side. Blasky comes out to face him, now down the side. Poked away partially there by Benson, but Williston keeps control. Aviators putting a lot of pressure on at the blue line. Shot sent on there. That one goes up and over the net. Benson grabs it and goes behind his own net. Tried to dump it down, but Williston has shot sent on. That goes up and over Dom and into the corner, and Fiala is able to get that one out in the neutral zone, but Williston regains control, and they'll work it right back in. Fiala is slow to get up. Dropped off there. Shot sent on, but right into the glove of Dom, holds on, and we're going to face off. 6:25 to go here, third period. Williston still leading 3-2. They are also on the power play here for the next 39 seconds. They are starting to open up the gap on shots as they lead 31-21 now. Except you take the face-off out there with White by Easton Green and Charlie Miedema on defense. Williston works this one in. Down below the goal line. Over to the near side. They send it up to the point. Work it to the top. Shot sent on. Dom made the save on that one. Kicked it into the corner. Williston gets on it right away. Works it up to the point. About 15 seconds to go on the power play. Blocked there by Seffi. Down below the goal line. Sent out to the point again, but that goes off the player's stick and out into the neutral zone, so they'll have to regroup. Seffi puts a little bit of pressure on. Only about 2 seconds to go here. Mason Fargo will get out of the box. Nicely poked away there by Wyatt By as we get back to 5-on-5 hockey. Tied up along the wall by Seffi. She feeds it to the middle, gets to Wyatt By. Trying to get around the defenseman, lost control of the puck, but gets it back. Williston still with control and brings it down the near side. Down goes a Williston player. Seffi will head to the box here on a tripping call. Or I guess they're going to call it hooking. But just as the Aviators got off the penalty kill, they'll head right back on here. It's an interesting dynamic as Seffi has to head to the box to serve her 2-minute penalty and sit next to her two parents that are running the scorer's table. But either way, 5-on-4 opportunity again for Williston here. Aviators just getting off of the penalty kill, and Williston going right back on here as they work it from the sidewall to the point. Shots it on through traffic right into the stomach of Dom. Saw that one clearly the whole way. Holds on. And we're going to face off far side of the Aviators zone. Be Owen Berg, Jody Schauer as the forward, Daxton Norby, Nick Henderson as the defenseman. Williston gets control off the face-off, out to the point, D to D. Back to the near side, shots it on, but once again, Dom was able to see that one. Dropped it a little bit, got a quick whistle though. And we're going to face off here on the near side. Still 1:42 to go on the power play for Williston. Bouncing puck comes out to the point. Shower putting a little bit of pressure on, but Williston off the near side. They work it up to the top. Now back to the near side. Off the wall, back up to the top. Shot sent on, tipped on there. Dom makes the save. Williston gets on the puck here. They dump it down low. Centering pass knocked away there by Daxon and Nick Henderson. Work to the front. Puck loose. Maybe they're trying to get it out. Henderson will try to chip that one out. They'll keep it in. Sent in on Dom. He'll hold on to that one. And we're going to face off here, far side of the Aviators end. Aviators a little tired there. Good call by Dom to hold on to that one. Get some fresh legs out there. Looks like it'll be Nicholson and Blasky out there as the forwards. It'll be Benson and Miedema on defense. So changing things up here just a little bit. Send up the wall, gets to Blasky. He'll chip it out into the neutral zone. Nicholson will try to chase this down. Not too deep. Nicholson, player goes down for Williston. Nicholson will have to get back here, but puck comes loose again. Blasky dumps it down low over the near side, killing some valuable time as we get down to about 50 seconds to go here on the power play for Williston. They get control. They'll work this one on the neutral zone down the far side into the Aviators' end. Shot sent on, gets blocked there by Miedema. Williston will get right back on it, though. They'll send it off the boards out to the point. Shot sent on through traffic. That went off a Benson skate. Dom had to fight that off. And looks like we'll get a penalty here on Williston out in front. Took down Charlie Miedema. So that'll even things up here 4-on-4 for the next 31 seconds. Interference call here on Williston. So we go 4-on-4 for the next 31 seconds, and the Aviators will go on the power play. They have had success on the power play this afternoon. Going 2 for 3 so far on the power play. Their only 2 goals have come on the power play. 3:57 to go here in the third period. Blasky to take the face-off out there with Shower. Tied up at the dot. Picked up by Shower off the wall. Dumps it down into the corner. Go behind the Williston net. They'll get on it first. Blasky trying to steal it away. They send it up the wall. Shower comes over to help out. That gets caught up by the ref. Williston gets control. Turns it back towards their goaltender now. Brings this one forward. They'll cut it through the middle. Benson comes over to help out Miedema. They drop it off. Shot sent on. That one comes rolling in on Dom. He gets a pad on. It holds on. We're going to face off. So about 5 seconds to go here on the original penalty to Seffi. She'll be out of the box, and it'll be a 5-on-4 power play for about 1:29. Maybe they just need to win this face-off, get it headed the other way. So when the player comes on the ice, they will have that full time, but Williston wins the face-off. They work it to the near side. Shot sent on through traffic. Down fights that one off. Over the near side. Williston dumps it down. Playing pitch and catch here, but power play opportunity for the Aviators. They try to dig this one loose, but Mason Fargo shoves the player from behind. Will head back to the box, so that'll even things up 4-on-4 for the next 1:14. 3 minutes, 11 seconds to go. Looks like they are going to keep Mason out of the game. Not kick him out, but keep him out for the next 10 minutes. It looks like Wyatt will head to the box to serve the 2-minute penalty. So Wyatt will be let out after the end of the 2 minutes. They're going to say that's a checking from behind. Not a game misconduct, but a 2-minute and a 10-minute call here. Timeout here called, looks like, by the Aviators. They want to talk this over. They'll need to kill this penalty. When they do, there will be just over a minute to play in the game, or if they do, be about 1:11 to play. So Aviators will be shorthanded for the rest of the game. They put up a 4-minute double minor and a 10-minute misconduct on Mason Fargo. So in 1:14, the player for Williston will be let out. It will be changed to a 2 minute, so it is a 2 and a 10. So what, like I said before, it will be about a minute and 10 seconds of 5-on-5 when if the Aviators can kill this penalty. It will be 4-on-4 for a minute 14 of it, so really they only have to kill 46 seconds of power play time for Williston. Either way, they trail by 1, getting outshot 39-21. There's 3 minutes and 11 seconds left in the third period. A 3-2 lead for Williston. So Aviators have some work to do. They got to kill this penalty, and then they have to find a way to get the puck down in the Williston and get some opportunities. We'll expect Dom to head out if the Aviators have the puck at the end of the penalty kill, if they don't give up one or score one before that. So, Mason Fiala out there with Kulak, Benson, and Henderson. So 3 defensemen. Kulak obviously moved up to forward here now since there's 2 forwards in the penalty box. Stretch pass, finds Kulak. He's behind the defense. Brings it in, shots it on, goaltender makes the save. The Aviators being opportunistic. Finding opportunities. So Aviators making the call, pulling the goaltender now. They're going to go 5-on-4. Schauer comes out to be the 5th player. Tied up at the dot. Williston gets control. Down goes another player. Kulak's going to head to the box. Arm goes up, tripping call. And that hurts. That hurts their chances. Dom will come back out. Into the net. It will be 4-on-3. Aviators are just going to have to take chances now. It'll be Seffi out there with Benson and Nick Henderson. Bouncing puck comes loose out to the point. Henderson trying to knock it away. Gets it out into the neutral zone. Williston gets control, though. Let's send it over to the near side. Benson tried to step up and take that one away. Henderson has control of it, chips it through the middle out into the neutral zone. 2 minutes, 25 seconds to play here. 4-on-3. Williston power play. They lead by 1. Feed it to the middle. Shots sent on. That one goes wide. Henderson will get control on his own zone. Tied up in the corner. Works it free. Has it stolen away. Williston works it to the front. Knocked away from their player. Shot sent on. That one goes off the side of the net. Benson steals it away. He'll dump this one down just to went off a Williston stick, I guess, so they'll say no ice. Williston goaltender stretches it to the near side. Up to the point. Now pushed down into the Aviators' end. Seffi trying to feed it over to Niedema. That comes out of the zone, so Williston has to regroup. 5-on-3 now, power play 4. Williston shot sent from the point right into the glove of Dom, holds on. And we'll get a face-off. So 52 seconds to go on the Kulak penalty. 25 seconds to go on the Mason Fargo, which is actually wide by coming out of the box. And a minute 36 left to go in this hockey game. Williston leads 3-2. So if the Aviators can kill both these penalties, there will be about 44 seconds left in the game. That will be 5-on-5. So the Aviators will obviously try to get out of the net again, go 6-on-5. Try to tie this one up. Got to be smart here. Possession is the name of the game now. Aviators can't just throw random passes out there. Need to control the puck. Look for somebody that can sneak behind the defense, maybe create an odd man rush or even a breakaway here. But then you have to be smart, because if that doesn't work out, you will be leaving your defenseman out to dry. 5-on-2 back the other way. So 25 seconds, it will be a 5-on-4 power play for Williston, and then 52 seconds, we will get back to 5-on-5. Williston taking their time out this time, wanted to talk things over. 3 players in the box for the Aviators. As we said in the preview, that's one thing the Aviators need to limit is their time in the box, and had done well through the first 2 periods, but struggling here in the 3rd period when it counted most. Williston almost doubling up now in the shot department over the Aviators. Owenberg to take the faceoff out there with Daxon and Charlie. Williston wins the puck, works it to the top. Now over to the far side, playing pitch and catch along the blue line. They work this one in, shots sent on, back door, but Dom was able to get a glove on that one, holds on, and we'll get a face-off. So 1:24 on the game clock, 13 seconds on the first penalty to the Aviators. 41 seconds on the second penalty to the Aviators. And then we'll be back 5-on-5. Berg to take the face-off, still out there, or now with Henderson and Benson. Puck comes loose to Benson. Tries to push this one forward, gets it up to Berg, knocked down. Wilson backhands one out to the point. First penalty almost over. So 5-on-4, Dom makes the save there. Puck loose, comes through all the way to the far side. Centering pass comes through everybody. This will be picked up by Wide as he's out of the box. About 18 seconds to go. Has somebody out in the middle. That was Berg, but couldn't quite get the puck over to him. Benson able to kick that one in, and it'll go offside. So that was a good opportunity there for the, lucky thing for the Aviators is to keep the face-off down here. We got about 13 seconds to go on the penalty to Kulak. Then we'll be back to 5-on-5. When that is over, we will be about 43 seconds left in the game. This one comes down to the Aviators end, picked up by Daxon. He sends one through the middle, stretch past the far side, not enough for icing. About 2 seconds to go, and we'll be back to 5-on-5. Benson trying to keep this one in, does at the blue line. We are back to 5-on-5. Dom should be headed to the bench here any minute. Picked up by Daxon along the far side, sends one off the wall. Wilson will try to dump it down, but it's stopped by Daxon again. Now poked back out to the red line. Stolen away here by Wilson, sent in on Dom. He'll dump this one up the wall, gets it up to Blasky. Only about 20 seconds to go. Aviators not able to get Dom off. Williston gets control. They bring it right back into the zone. Henderson trying to steal it away. He'll dump it in, picked up by Daxon. Brings it forward, lost control of that one. Big hit there by Benson, but that'll probably do it. It's only about 5 seconds, and Benson lost an edge. Daxon turns, fires it down, and that will do it. A 3-2 win here for Williston in the first game of the Grand Forks Top Gun Challenge. Aviators playing a decent game, but couldn't limit the penalties in the 3rd period. And they fall in this one 3-2 to Williston, who they will get another crack at in the very last game of the regular season before we head to the state tournament. So they will be looking for redemption in that one, but Aviators got some work to do now. They will have to come to play the next 2 games in order to have a chance to make it into one of the semifinals on Sunday. Well, at times, a little bit of a sloppy game, and at times, Aviators looking like they were finding a way, but were unable to battle back in this one as penalties cost them late in the game. And they lose a tough one here in the first game. But we'll be back again tomorrow, 9:45 a.m., taking on Sartell. And then once again, I believe at 4:45 in the afternoon against Winnipeg U15 AAA. I believe it is a team similar to Shattuck St. Mary's. If anybody knows what that is, I believe they go to school, play hockey with the kids. They don't go to public schools or anything. It's all a private deal. So they were up big over Sartell. I'm looking over there right now. It looks like the end of the 3rd period. or maybe headed to the third period, is 8-3 in favor of Winnipeg over Sartell. So the afternoon game will be a tough one. Hopefully, the Aviators can get a win against Sartell in the first game. And as always, we appreciate you joining us, and we will see you next time.